Welcome back to another episode of Leading Beyond the Spreadsheet, the leadership podcast for analytically minded leaders who want to balance their technical expertise into embracing and excelling with the people part of work. I'm your host, Kris Liebau, owner of Action and Ease Coaching and a keynote speaker. Each episode, we will bring you insights, stories, practical ideas, and perspectives so you can lead your team effectively with confidence. In our New Year's edition today, I want to take a look at your personal purpose as a leader. I talk to many professionals that are not satisfied with their roles. They think longingly about going back into a more technical position, hands-on, where they felt more connected and satisfied with their work. One big contributor to the lack of satisfaction in these leadership roles is often because they don't feel successful when they're not getting things done. Sometimes we talk about, right, the satisfaction of mowing the lawn, folding the laundry, right? I love vacuuming, right? Watching everything come up the lines on the floor. We feel like we're getting something done. And when we're working with people and we're further removed from the services and the products that we make, we lose some of that connection. So when you're in a position where you're relying on others to get things done, you're a step removed, and now you have to instruct, motivate, empower, or delegate to another person. It becomes more challenging. And while these leaders are excited about their roles and how they can have more influence, they've not revisited their definition of success or how they are measuring it. So how do you define your success as a leader? Getting stuff done, reaching goals and objectives, all of those things are great. What gets measured gets done. We know this. And the challenge is that when we're looking at retaining employees and making a great place to work, it's so much more than to-do lists. People can go to any company and get a list of things that need to be done. It's about how the work gets done that matters. That's an important aspect of leadership. When I started my coaching business, I did a lot of soul searching. And I realized for me that it's less about what it is I want to be when I grow up, and that my focus needs to be on how I want to be. How do I want to show up in this world each day? I have control over that. I know that when I'm with other people, I know the type of person that I want to be. I can be anything, and I can find satisfaction with that when I have those relationships and I show up as the person I want to be. Do I have goals and things I want to accomplish? Absolutely. Though I've decided I'm not going to beat myself up and drag myself through the mud the whole way, or anybody else for that matter, right? I will buckle down when it's required. I will practice perseverance when times get tough. And I'll also honor that in order for me to do my best, I need to operate at about 70% of my maximum operating capacity. We've got another great episode, podcast episode on that. If you'd like to check that out, I'll put the link in the show notes. So how we show up is incredibly important, right? In order to get things done. And the other part of how we want to interact with people, because relationships matter. Trust and respect are essential ingredients for an enjoyable workplace environment. How are you building and fostering those relationships? That's a tough thing to measure. And so while we're having these conversations, we not feel like we're doing anything. That's really the important work. And so you can be doing your absolute best, and you're still not getting the results that you're looking for. And so it's tempting to get sucked into thinking that if you had a better team or more resources, or you were properly staffed, that this whole thing would be so much easier. If you feel you're not a good leader because it doesn't feel easy, I suggest that you reassess what makes a great leader. It probably includes something to the tune of helping companies through difficult times. Yes, leadership is challenging, and you get to choose how you go about leading. Keep in mind that managing conflict and overcoming challenge are opportunities to build trust when done in a healthy and constructive way. What values and principles are important to you in navigating challenging situations and having difficult conversations? What behaviors and actions do those things translate into? If you're tempted to make a big list, go for it. Please pick no more than 3 things, maybe even preferably just one that's going to make the biggest impact to focus on. If this feels too open-ended, you may also enjoy thinking about this in terms of, what do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? What's something that you feel you need to start doing? What's something that would be helpful to stop doing? Take a moment, write these down, and keep them close at hand in order to be able to review. There's a companion worksheet that goes with this episode if you'd like to download that as well and work through these things. The other part is, how can you turn some of those things into measurements of success? How can you track those elements to make sure that you're keeping focus on these things that are important for relationships, motivations? The reason these small things are so important is because it takes consistency and commitment to bring about big change. So often we're looking at fancy new software and tracking systems and hoping that they're going to work magic for our groups and fix the communication problems or make up for something that's short-staffed. And we often reject small things because we feel that they're insignificant or that they're not big enough. Wind and water are incredible forces of nature that can literally move mountains. When you strategically deploy small actions consistently, it adds up to big change, and those small actions become powerful habits. The other aspect of this is the power of words. As you evaluate what successful leadership means to you, watch your words. Pick things you want to move toward rather than avoid. It's not uncommon in working with a client that they have a clear vision of what they don't want and don't have, and they don't know how to respond when I ask them what it is that they do want when those things aren't happening. So just for a little experiment, try these 2 statements on for size. Leadership is about reaching the organization's goals without everyone wanting to quit in the process. Okay, right? True. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's try this one. Leadership is about reaching the organization's goals with a team that's just as, if not more, inspired to go after the next one. Right? In that second one, we're moving towards something. While the first one may be true, we want to pick things that we're moving toward rather than away from. The other part of this that you might be saying to yourself is, I don't have time. I hear this a lot. You might be saying, hey, I barely have time to scarf down my lunch at my desk in front of my computer. When I talk to presidents of companies, CEOs that bring me in to do work with their teams, they tell me that this is exactly the kind of thing that they don't want people in their organization to be doing. They want people to take time, be deliberate, and intentional with what they're doing as leaders. We're so focused on getting stuff done, we're losing out on taking a breath, turning off autopilot, looking for opportunities and creative ways to get things done together. Taking this time to reset and gain perspective regularly needs to happen on a daily basis. It's not radical to pause regularly throughout the day and reset and have intention. I'm talking about taking less than 5 minutes at a time. The other story we tell ourselves is that we'll have time for this intention setting when the project is over, when that presentation is complete. You do have the time, and I promise you that if you make the time, you will earn that time back when you invest in connecting with your purpose as a leader, connecting with your plan, and putting that into action. You're going to start to see the returns. It's going to pay big dividends. And you're going to feel that momentum moving you forward Thank you for joining in for another episode of Leading Beyond the Spreadsheet. If you'd like to work through your leadership purpose and develop a personal action plan, you can download the companion worksheet for this episode at www.actionandeasecoaching.com/purpose. If you feel like what you have to process and developing this sense of purpose and leadership goes well beyond a worksheet and a podcast episode, feel free to click on schedule a free consultation at actionandeasecoaching.com. Till next time.